invite on stage our guest of honor this evening, and that's none other than Mr. Bernhard Stefan, Managing Director of Nestle Lanka PLC. He is the Managing Director of Nestle Lanka, board member and business strategy operations. Mr. Stefan is a seasoned FMCG general manager with over 20 years of experience in leading businesses across Asia and Africa. He has a proven track record of delivering profitable growth, implementing major strategic initiatives, and managing change management projects in developed and developing markets. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and invite our guest of honor, Mr. Bernhard Stefan, to share his views.
Thank you. Good evening. And well, I'm very honored to be here today. And actually, I'm also a bit embarrassed to be here today because, you know, I think the last you need is an old white man giving you any advice or giving any inputs. And I know when you asked me to come here, I thought, okay, that's going to be a tough one. And look, I was really impressed. And I have to say thank you to all of you for an amazing afternoon, for a few hours of learning. I'm already giving a warning. Some of you might hear from me because I think you could share a lot also with my team, because what you do in your companies is truly remarkable. And I think it comes back to the one thing that matters the most, which is leadership. And Anura asked me, said, look, talk a bit about the role of women in economy. And I think we heard a lot about that. So this part for me is very easy. What's the role of women in economy? Well, women are a key driver of economy. Of course, simply when you look from economy, and I work for a food company, yes, in the traditional way that we don't want to talk so much about, you are our key consumers. You are our key customers. But also, of course, women play an extremely important point in our workforce. And here in Sri Lanka, Nestle has to do much more, but you are very important there. But there's one other extremely important part, upstream. The supply chain. Because especially when you look at the agricultural sector, and I know if you look at pure GDP numbers, this does not factor a big part, but when it comes to the workforce, when it comes to the number of people, without women, Nestle would not be able to supply the products. It's dairy farming, and when we talk about tea, I know not a lot about tea, but what I understand, without the female labor force in the tea plantations, we would not sell any of these wonderful cups of Ceylon tea because we rely on women as a workforce. But look, that's the simple part. I think the most important part why it is so critical is, first of all, it's proven in many studies from many universities, a diverse team, a team with females performs better. Purely financially, these teams do better. But I also think a diverse team is way more fun to work in because you get different perspectives. And look, you could say, yeah, the guy works from Nestle and, a rich Western company. Well, let me tell you a story. This is a few years ago. I was quite new, it's nearly 20 years ago, new at Nestle, and I was a very young guy and invited for the first time to a global meeting of our waters division. So big meeting in Paris, and they had this nice picture where everybody's standing there. And I went back to Austria and showed this picture, extremely proud to my mother. And, my mom looked at the picture, looked at it a few seconds and said, that's a strange photo. I said, why? You can't see me. He said, I don't care about you, but there is no women on this picture. So 20 years ago. Now let's go a bit fast forward. I moved to the global head office in 2017, so not that long ago. And guess how many females we had on our global executive board in 2017, which is quite recent. Any guesses? Global company, food company. Any guesses? We had one, my boss. She was the only one. So, a step forward, but a small one. But actually things can change. And today we have 6 female members of our global executive board. And not only in HR or communications, no. Our head of operations, 300 plus factories, she is a female. And I think this is extremely important because it starts at the top. If the top person, if it would not be our global CEO who drives this point, it would not be possible to drive this change. Because in the end, it starts at the top. And some of you said it. And my wife, she has a very similar career to me. She works for a French consumer goods company. So she's not here in the country, unfortunately. There's one thing that really drives her crazy. If somebody says, yeah, look, you're a woman and that's the job you've got. I think you said it very rightly. Nobody wants to be called, you're a good leader because you're a woman. That's irrelevant for you. You are great leaders because you have everything to be an outstanding leader and you deserved to be there. And this is really, as I said, if I ever have an argument about my wife, it would be a stupid comment. I learned I would never ever make it anyway. But I think, when I look forward at careers, and this is the other things that companies need to do, that what we try to do, we also need to create an environment that allows females to have strong careers. First of all, I think multinationals, we are the worst because you look at careers in a very male, very masculine way. You start and then you progress and every few years you take another job and you move and all this. Well, but, we all forget that there might be other important things in life and a career doesn't end because you take a huge responsibility for a family. So we need to look at it differently. And I think at Nestle we changed. We now put in place ways to, of course, take care, have childcare facilities. But also having, an interruption in a career is no longer seen as, now you go 2 years back and then you start again. No, I think we see some continuation in this part, which is extremely important. And Shea, I liked what you shared about these attributes for a leader. But I also think companies and male leaders, we are sometimes very unfair to female leaders because how isn't it like that when, there's a strong woman said, look, she's tougher than a man. Oh no, look, she's soft like a woman. No, she's there because she's a woman. You can't believe how often I still hear this in 2024. You hear it every time, but even as a male leader, this is there. And I think this goes back that, we all, again, starting from the top, need to continue to change, drive this change. But I'm extremely hopeful. Look, there's a long way to go. And, before the world becomes an equal place and a fully diverse place, there's a long way to go. But I think, extremely positive. First of all, we heard the statistics. Today, 60%, also in Sri Lanka, university graduates, female. Well, that's the future of any economy. It's the brain power. It's the brain capital. So I think this is there. But also beyond purely, education, I think we see more and more role models. We see people who have done it, who have managed to get through the glass ceiling. And I think this is what you can help organizations, your own organizations, but many others, to make this in a way much more normal. And that's for me what role models can do. And you also, I think, have to do something. Keep reminding your companies, your teams, your partners, that this is an important part for any business to prosper, to be successful. We need this diversity. And I liked something that we just said. March is becoming very important because we have all these forums. And look, I think it's great. And as I said, I'm honored to be here today. But look, this shouldn't become the new version of Mother's Day, that you have it once a year and we all say, that's what we do and we are great. No, this has to become, a January to December activity, because if companies don't find ways to continuously offer great working conditions for smart female talents, well, they will leave us. They have other choices. They don't have to work for, a Nestle or any other company. And I think this is what we all need to continue to do. So please, as role models, you keep helping us. I know you're not shy of reminding your male colleagues as well, what we can do, what we have to do to improve. But I truly believe, having seen some extremely strong leaders everywhere around the world, but very especially here in Sri Lanka, some of the CEOs, especially in the consumer goods company, in the space I met, I'm impressed. So it was an honor to be with you here today to share a few thoughts. Have a wonderful evening, and let's continue this journey to really make sure that one day it's becoming more diverse and equal. Thank you very much.